TikTak, TikTak,
TikTak,
TikTak.
TikTak.
Welcome to the TikTak Transfer Show, where we have some transfer news, actual, real life Liverpool transfer news to talk about, and we've got transfer news to talk about non-Liverpool as well. It's an amazing feeling. It's a rare feeling these days because we don't make many transfers, but when we do, oh boy, we make some good ones, and this one's as good as any of them. But we will get into all of that. We will get onto all of that. My transfer panel for tonight is as follows. To my
That way.
that way, I've got Holmes in the building. Omar, how are we, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good. I won't lie, I had no idea about the I was scrolling the timeline for like half an hour this morning and I was just having a good time, I had no idea about the transfer and I just saw Paul Joyce's tweet and I was like, damn, how have I missed this? Surely
is real.
this is real.
Did you do what everyone does and checks like if it's the real Joyce account?
Yeah. Because
he hasn't got a verified tick, so
he does it on purpose.
Yeah.
He does it, and then he does it in the most mundane way. Like we get 50 million players every other day, but our happy days. Avi's wisdom, his manifestation came true. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him.
That's the one. Less of the wisdom, right? Calm down with the wisdom part, right?
Well,
but the manifestation, absolutely spot on. I don't know if you guys got a glimpse of our show we done at 7:30 in the morning. Like, he woke me up. It was like he started waking me up about 7 a.m. And we discussed it about 4 a.m. I said, look, let's sleep on it. And whenever it breaks, just call me and I'll set it all up. And obviously, he didn't let me sleep for more than 2 hours before, as Omar says, the reliable, the usual Liverpool journalist started breaking the news. Evan, what's popping, my friend? People in the chat are already coming for you, saying that American dude in the corner didn't rate Diaz, man. Ask him now.
Well, as Luis Diaz has always been my number one target, and I've definitely never said anything on this channel to contradict that. So I don't know what anybody's talking about. Me and Avi have been holding it down on Twitter for Diaz all summer. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Exactly. Keith, man, I know you got a lot to say, and there's flowers to be given out to everyone, and you're no different. There's going to be flowers given to you as well, because we're not going to get into it now, but just very briefly, we did speak about, and you in particular did speak about, January is not such a closed window. It shouldn't be. Sorry, you said it shouldn't be such a closed window because there is bargains to be had here and there.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it was great to be watching with my cup of coffee, starting my day before work, watching you and Abby on the stream. So that was a lot of fun today. That was a lot of fun to see. It was actually Saka Guards who's the first person who I actually saw retweet that. Literally, I woke up in the morning, went on Twitter, and the first thing I saw, so Evan, my algorithm likes you, bro, because you were there. I got a funny little quick story, right? I was chatting with my mate last night. He's an Arsenal fan, and the last thing he says to me before we stopped talking is, I was like, you're obviously trimming down the squad, you're getting rid of Chambers, what's happening in it? He goes, letting Chambers go, it could be a sweetener for Diaz. And he said that at 10:37.
Amazing.
That in the morning with Evan's tweet, and he was crying.
I bet he was. But listen, guys, before we get into sort of the minor stuff, we've got to speak about the major breaking news tonight. The real breaking news, man. Evan, I'm going to start with you. Frank Lampard on the verge of taking over at Everton. This is huge. This is mega, man. Just your initial reaction, live reaction, because I don't even think you know about this breaking news.
Well, I read about it about half an hour ago. I'd forgotten about it because obviously we're in such high spirits in our own camp. But my initial reactions are, of course, Everton can appoint whoever they want. The job is still a poison chalice, as people say. But I think when you're Lampard, at a certain point, you have to acknowledge that and then back yourself. You know what I mean? And that's the mentality you have to have. That's the mentality you have to have as a player. That's the mentality you have to have as a manager. As in, I can go there and turn things around. And obviously, with a manager, you have much greater control over what happens at the football club than a player. So, best of luck to him. I don't expect it to go well, but at a certain point, you got to just take a risk and back yourself.
Bit of a weird one, Omar. Bit of a weird one, don't you think, Lampard? Or do you see any sense in it, kind of thing?
Well, it's different to what they've done with Ancelotti and Benitez. I think they tried it with the big.
They've gone to the extreme opposites, or not quite extreme, but yeah.
You know what? It's probably what they probably need, because it clearly wasn't working out with the big hitters. So, look, I don't mind Frank Lampard as a guy. I think he's all right, but how funny would it be if he took them down? How funny would it be? Would I feel sad? I don't know, because it's nice to beat them twice a year, but
there is that.
It would be so funny. It would be so funny. Well. So I kind of just want to see him take them down, and Lampard will have his second stint in the Championship, I hope.
Yeah. Oh God. Of course. Yeah. With Derby as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
But look. Shout out to Ben. He says, "Big up the boys. These the blue signings are always the best. Wouldn't want it any other way." And Keith, so we had a bit of news from Colombian journalists overnight saying that the deal is way advanced and it's near enough in its latter stages, and we've been here before in terms of like sort of the Bobby Firmino deal comes to mind. The Fabinho deal comes to mind, where it's always the foreign journalists get a whiff of it, and then boom, within 24 hours, the local journalists get it and go with it, and they obviously get clearance from the club, and it's near enough wrapped up. This would have been wrapped up if it wasn't for the logistics of it, in terms of he's out in South America. Where's he, in Peru? Yeah, he's in Peru. So do you like these kind of deals, or do you like the ones where we know it's like rumors and denials and rumors, and then we get and then we get them like like the chase, or do you like these ones where not a whisper, not a nothing, and then boom, 24 hours, we've got him?
Yeah, the latter for two reasons. For two reasons. Reason number one, it's a hell of a dopamine hit, man. I'm not gonna lie. All day today, you just been on cloud nine. You just was talking about it with everybody, sharing the videos. It's been like, wow, man, we're getting this player. Like, it's really happening. It's been an exciting day. It's almost united the fan base a little bit. We've had disagreements here and there about various ways that the football club
united for about
5 minutes,
hour max. I saw on the timeline, and we'll get to that because one of the super chats is talking about that. Go on.
The second point is the fact that it really makes a statement that the player wants to play for Liverpool Football Club when their agents are not going around letting little things leak here, having little disputes here. Clearly, Diaz has been able to navigate himself through with this. He seems to have a decent character to be able to not piss anybody off when he's leaving a club like Porto, when they're in the middle of a season. This is in the middle of their season. He's having his breakthrough season, if you will, and he's going away, and it's all been able to happen pretty much quietly. So that tells me a lot about the people that we've dealt with, the person that's coming into the club, and the way that he's dealt with it with his former club. No issues, no whispers, no little birdies. So that makes me even more confident that we're getting a player that's actually going to fit the squad that we currently have, because it's a delicate balance trying to keep something together that's so successful. So that I like it. That I like how it looks.
It's if we take it back, if we take it right back, Evan. So the the rumors were obviously always from his homeland, saying there is interest from Liverpool. There is interest from Liverpool. About 3-4 weeks ago, at the start of the transfer window, one or two Colombian journalists even said it's done. It's absolutely done. It's agreed. Obviously, it wasn't, but then James Pearce, I think, came out and said there is interest there, but it's it's not as advanced or anything that he knew of. And then we hear sort of, I think, maybe the night before, we hear about Spurs making a major effort to go and grab this player. We know Spurs are desperate for quality players, and I think it's pretty apparent that Liverpool get a bit of a jolt and decide to go for what they were planning to do in summer. They bring that forward. It's a cracking deal, right? Are you at all concerned that we needed a jolt up the backside, or that's business sometimes?
No, us jolting into action is for me the biggest comfort and the biggest positive that I take in this transfer, because for so long we're fed the line that Liverpool have the cash reserves to jump for anybody they consider to be tier 1 on their short list, and that's them putting their money where their mouth is. Essentially, a guy who how should I say this? A guy who we thought was tier 1 and willing to move heaven and earth for, he started getting some concrete advanced interest from elsewhere. That was enough to make us act. And for me, I wanted to believe those lines that Liverpool will act at a moment's notice for a player that they deem to be of a certain level. I wanted to believe it, but I hadn't seen it in so long, or I hadn't really seen it in that fashion. So when we jolted into action at the merest hint of Spurs' interest, I took that as a huge positive, and we must really think the world of this guy. He must just be a world beater waiting to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Omar, the rumors, obviously, when we were first linked with him, the rumors were talking about a £60 million release clause, and a lot of raised eyebrows amongst the Liverpool fan base, some from ones that hadn't watched him, so weren't in a position to raise their eyebrows. You know, them ones that just raise their eyebrows, right? For no reason.
Yeah.
And then there was raised eyebrows from the ones that had seen him play and thought, oh, that's a steep one. I prefer Rafinha, or I don't know who else is sort of Harvey Barnes or Bowen or whatever. And then there was ones that said, I don't give a shit how much we pay for him. I want him at all costs. When you first heard about the price range, what was your initial thoughts? Does that sound value for money for you at £60 million?
I don't like to pay attention to that too much, because I normally have full faith in our recruitment, in the sense that I think they'll always make the right decision, especially when it comes to these sort of big signings. So look, 60 million for a player that's played in the Portuguese league, and we haven't really heard much of. Of course, it sounds steep, but if Jurgen Klopp thinks that's good enough, then I think it's good enough. That's just how I've always been. Well, we got it down. So I don't know how much a release clause is worth nowadays, because I know some people have like £1 billion of release clause, which is stupid. But yeah, I just trust our recruitment so much. And look, everyone was going on about their like tier 1 targets and having the cash reserves. If he's a tier 1 target and we got jolted into action over him, I think he's going to be a great signing, and it's going to look like a bargain.
He's Keith. Where would he be in terms of your list of candidates for that attacking winger? We call it attacking wide forward, or however you want to put it. Where was he? And be honest, where was he in your sort of levels of what you wanted? Because I know you was a propaganda of a certain player at West Ham.
You know what? You know how I feel about my British players, man. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I could. The one thing that fits the profile of all of them, which is why Luis Diaz is a sign that I'm excited about just as much as anybody, is it fits the profile of the ones that I also like. Jared Bowen, you look at the number of, I just had a quick look on who scored. You look at the number of tackles he's made in comparison to Luis Diaz in the league in terms of attempting tackles, being involved in the press, in the defensive actions, in the attacking third. Bowen's good at that. I rate Saka very highly as well in that position. I think he's brilliant. And Luis Diaz does that type of job. So to get him at that price is where the bargain really lies, because let's be honest, we're not going to get anyone like Bowen or Saka for anything less than 60 to 70, 80. You saw what City had to pay for Jack Grealish. So to get the similar type of profile player at literally half the price, that's where it really becomes a bargain. And, you know, kudos to Liverpool for moving in the market. I think, you know, John Henry is, his whole philosophy isn't taking like certain calculated risks, right? And he will gamble. You know, that's how he made his money, right? Really gambling. He's taken a gamble where he's taken advantage of the situation. Again, Grace, like I said to you before, the economic situation. You know, they've got fined by FFP to deal with. They will have to take action, because Porto know they're one of the best-selling clubs in Europe. Like, Porto know, like, they'll get their money, they'll reinvest it, they'll bring in another Luis Diaz. They don't mind. And so it's just perfect timing for us two to come to that agreement. I think it's he's got all the qualities we need to be like, it's to have five now. To say we have five is incredible, actually.
Yeah, look, that's one of the questions that comes up in the super chat. I'm going to bring up in a second, but this ratio that I've put up here is quite embarrassing. There's over 350 of you. You haven't even reached 100 likes.
Really bad.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's not bad, Holmes. It's embarrassing. You know, people need to sort their lives out. You know, Evan. So basically, so the rumors were the 60 million release course. I knew that we were never going to pay that. I knew we weren't interested in paying that because we were quoted the same for Rafinha. I think I remember telling you as well. And we thought we can get Rafinha for around 40, 50 million in the summer. We thought we can get Diaz for about 40, 50 million in the summer as well. But obviously with the Spurs involvement, we managed to strike a deal. And Julian Ward is the one who handled this in the main, and he's managed to strike a deal very similar, or pretty similar to the Jota one. We've got him for sort of the initial price is £37 million, and then 12 million in add-ons, bonuses if he reaches them, and apparently they're not very difficult to reach or whatever, but they're success-based, so that's a win-win anyway, because if they're triggered, that means we've won the league or the Champions League or whatever. But the crucial part, and what you touched upon in your first assessment when I asked you something about cash reserves, is we actually make a down payment of only 12.5 million. And then it's 2 further installments from around for the same amount. Julian Ward, we discussed what a job he's got, what footsteps he's got to follow. It's not a bad start from the young man, is there?
No, not at all. It's a level of savviness, and it's just a understanding of the situation. Like you said, Porto being hit with FFP. Keep in mind that Marco Grujic has only just gone the other way, and they probably still owe us money from that transfer. So and so that's probably was a big factor in negotiations, and why we were able to negotiate a lower overall price tag and or a lower initial fee. Another big factor is that these teams who are so heavily affected by FFP, in terms of just getting their books straight so that they avoid the fines and they avoid getting in deep water, they can accept these lower initial payments because they can write the total fee before add-ons on their books and as income, even though they will not receive all of that income for 2-3 years, however it's spelled out over the duration of the contract. So Wolves obviously were lured and were tempted into that with Jota, and Porto are kind of in the same situation. So I wouldn't call it a loophole, but it's a factor that allows us to do these sort of savvy deals, and I have to applaud us for recognizing that, recognizing the leverage we had because of the recent Grujic transfer. And I have to applaud Julian Ward and Michael Edwards, because Julian Ward's been under his wing for so long. I think we're in good hands going forward.
No, absolutely. And this deal is, I don't know, an icebreaker for him. No, that's not. Is that the right terminology? Is it an icebreaker? No, it's not an icebreaker.
I think icebreaker sounds about nice. So, yeah, that sounds right.
I mean, I would love to know what Keith said, but Keith's on mute, so I don't have no idea what Keith said.
Already.
Yeah. He's just whispering, like miming something.
Strike one.
Yeah, strike one. But yeah, I call it what you want. But the first deal is always remembered, isn't it? And you'd like to remember it fondly. And this one definitely will be remembered fondly. Joshua sent in a super chat, but I think he didn't know how to attach the comments. I'm going to read out his thank you for the super chat, Joshua. He says, I said in calling Khan, signing will rejuvenate us to win the league. Don't look past the fact that past 3-4 seasons, City won the Carabao to kick them off on the final push. This year, it's our turn. Of course, I remember Joshua from the call-in show. He was very positive the other night and said, we're literally a signing away from Omar from launching a title challenge and Champions Leagues there. Keith's right about sort of, it does rejuvenate the fan base, not only the fan base, which is always good, but sort of players' mood around the camp, a new player, a new friend, a new brother, a new person to assist them in this challenge for the title of honours. That buzz will definitely be there around the training ground as well, right?
Yeah, I'm with Joshua. I mean, I was saying it before. Before the signing, I still felt that we were in a title race, and you can backtrack me on that. But this signing, look what it's done for the fans. Now think about what it's done for the players.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
Think about what it's done for the players. Mohamed Salah, we know he's been demanding new signings, and not demanding, but it said that he was asking for us to really reinvest. He's going to come back from the AFCON on cloud 9, because look, we've played Luis Diaz in the Champions League this season. The boys know what he's about. He's going to go into training and he's going to be gunning for a starting spot. He's going to be wanting to play that Carabao Cup final. So not only does that just raise the boys in the squad, but it raises the level as well. Sadio Mane has now got a target on his back, and you don't want Sadio Mane to be pumped up, because a pumped up Sadio Mane is.
No, we do. Opposition,
opposition don't. We do.
We do.
A fired up Sadio Mane is one of the best players in the world. So it's just raised the morale, and look, the quadruple's on.
Shit.
The quadruple's on.
I just want to read out a super chat that I must have missed because it's about Frank Lampard. Dinesh, our regular in the chat, says, evening, gentlemen. Cannot wait for Frank back to Anfield after his beef with Klopp 2 years ago. It's going to be gold. Yeah, I can't wait as well. But I wanted to come to this point, Keith. MNGX Ron. Shall I just call him Ron to make life easier? Ron says, or is Ron the
that's the currency.
Ron's the currency, isn't it? I just fucked up there. Yeah, Ron's the currency, 100%. Okay, then, clever clogs. Just because you're the only one in studies, though, what currency is that? What country's currency is that? You don't know.
That is definitely.
No, you don't know exactly.
Republic of something.
Yeah, you don't know. So basically, you don't know. All right, but it says, guys, is it only me being anxious about Sadio's future in the summer amid Diaz news? Big up all of you. I want to come to you, Keith, because we've got a tendency as Liverpool fans. As soon as we get a big player in or a new player in, we almost naturally turn to the player that plays in his position and say, yeah, he's finished. I worry about him. He's here. Who's going? We're always looking for what's the word? Sort of someone who's going to, the fall guy.
Yeah. The scapegoat, if you will.
The scapegoat, the fall guy, whatever you want. Like, yeah, shiny new toy. Like kids, shiny new toy, chuck the old ones about. That's what kids do, right? We got to look past that. We've now got an absolute quality attacker to assist us. Pardon the pun, but assist us in challenging on a lot of fronts. We shouldn't be looking to write off other players and say sell X, sell Y, sell Z.
You know what? This signing has probably more convinced me that Mane and Firmino will probably get improved contracts and stay at the club for another couple of years. I don't see the club this summer selling. I just cannot imagine Jurgen Klopp selling Sadio Mane or even Bobby Firmino. I can't see it selling. Divock Origi, Minamino, 100%. Their time is coming to an end. We've seen what Manchester City can do with 5 forwards, and we know that the levels. Remember the levels back. Always remember about centre backs. You always had to have like 4 centre backs in your team to win a league. I was always convinced of that. And nowadays, I'm convinced that you need 5 forwards to win a league. You can't just rely all the time on the same front three at every single game, and then someone that comes in just isn't quite at that level. We've had
it just requires mad luck with injuries and form, like we had in that 2019-20 season. Yeah.
But one other thing as well is it's kind of like when you've got 5 forwards to turn to, AFCON obviously all of a sudden doesn't become an issue. It wasn't an issue for Man City. They lost Riyad Mahrez to AFCON, and they didn't bat an eyelid as far as they were concerned, because they had all the other options available to them. With us now having all these options available to us, it just means that injuries, niggles, players that come in, you're always looking at a team that's going to be, on paper, a scary team to face. And defenders are going to feel it. Oppositions are going to feel it, because they know that at any given time, Liverpool will put up in front of you a front three. And you know what? Maybe Kaden Gordon's probably the 6th man now out of all of this as well, who's also a similar mold to these players. All of a sudden, we've just got forwards that are all fit the requirement necessary to play as a forward for Liverpool. I always thought Shaqiri, Origi, Minamino to a certain extent didn't quite fit the profile, but with Diaz and Gordon as well, that all of a sudden all our front options are interchangeable forwards that you could play in any position at any time. And now all of a sudden you just got a million different options. So it could cement our time in this lovely stratosphere that we're in, which is consistently competing Champions League, Premier League, up there all the time, because the quality that we have right now is just ridiculous. And if we're doubling up on that, it's even more exciting for us.
It is. I personally get your positivity about the Gordon shout, but I don't want. It's not about want. I don't think Gordon is ready for at least a season or 2. Ideally, we now have 5 into 3. And when we talk about the 5, we talk about 5 of near enough equal. I mean, I know Mo is elite, but you know what I mean? Like, in terms of the rest of them are on a quality that we know is guaranteed. Bobby, part of the Champions League, Premier League winning side. Mane, we know Mane. Jota has come in and looked sensational. And now we know Luis Diaz, and we're going to get onto his strengths and weaknesses, whatever, as well as a player. But now we've got 5 into 3. And I often use the example of the United team that dominated my growing up, with the Sheringham, Cole, York, and Solskjaer. That was the 4, isn't it? And he only used to play 2 of them, and just kept rotating and keeping all of them fresh. And a lot of people are asking, what's our likely lineup now? I don't give a shit. That's Jurgen Klopp's team job. He's the one who gets 10 million a year to get to make these decisions. I want him to have the weapons at his disposal, and then he can go to war and choose any weapon he wants, and he can live or die by his decisions, right, Evan? Because that's how it works.
Yeah.
I would say that's how it works. I think when it comes to Diaz, though, it's a savvy sort of signing, isn't it? It kind of makes you really comfortable with the price range in which we're dealing with here, because our hit rate in this region is just so prolific. It's just so consistently great And I'm just so glad that we stick to this area, because I think if you have a philosophy and you have sort of a price range that you're comfortable with, that your ability to strike just a consistent deal in this range becomes sort of your signature move. So you will. I think so much of what we built on and our success in terms of like transfer dealings has just come from working in this range, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, and we've discussed it before. I'm not interested in the range. I'm not interested in the price. I've always said it. But it seems to be that our strike rate, as you say, once we get above a certain range, even though I've said I don't give a shit, but if there is a trend where there is above 25 million, it's a guaranteed success near enough. Omar, there's just a couple of things that I wanted to ask you about. You're going, Keith. No one tell him. No one tell him. No one tell him. No one tell him. Just let him talk. Yeah, go on.
I love it.
The hard way.
Our strike rate is so like unique now and so well known that.
Speaking of strikes, you're on strike too, by the way.
By the way.
Speaking of strikes.
When we make those signings, rival fans used to be like, "Oh, Liverpool, oh, another flop. Oh, they're not spending enough money. They're shopping in." Not one person said anything. Everyone's just quietly with dread because they know how good the hit rate is at that price range. We're so good at that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely spot on. There was just a couple of super chats I need to get through. I'm probably going to come back to you for one of them because it's about one of the points that you make. But Omar, Jamil says, I agree with your 5 forward point. A perfect example was United with Rooney, Nani, Tevez, Ronaldo, and Berbatov again. So, out of the 5 that I've mentioned, and then we can add Divock and Taki to that as well. What would you do? If you was in charge, what would you do with that scenario and situation? Because if you want to promote, like Keith says, young Kate Gordon as the 6th one, that's going to be rarely used, maybe now and again in a last 20 minutes of a game that we're strolling, whatever, just for the experience. Then for sure, Taki and Divock will be surplus to requirements.
I think right now 1 is surplus to requirement. I'll take your pick. Origi's done so much for this club, and I just think he's got that magic touch for us. But there's always that thing about you need to have a world-class squad. You need two players that can play in every position. And we're almost there. I think the 5, but it's not like it's a 5. It's like it wasn't like it's Mane, Salah, Firmino, Minamino, Origi. It's 5 top quality strikers. 5 people that can put up 15, 20 goals a season at least.
We always used to moan, didn't we, Omar? We always used to moan about when it was the front 3, and then we had the likes of a Shaq to step in and a Divock to step in. And we were always disappointed and left a little bit underwhelmed that 4th and 5th need to be of a higher caliber. Well, now that 4th and 5th arguably is Bobby and Diaz. Arguably.
It's what we want. It's what we've been craving. It's what every fan has been craving, that sort of squad depth. And we finally got it. And I know there's so many people that just half an hour in just flipped and went, all right, that's Mane off. Like, come on, like let's have some positivity. Like we're trying to build to something special. And for once we have it. Chelsea have got about 8 forwards. None of them can score. But
they have got
they've got 8 forwards. So like let's just enjoy it. We don't know what's gonna happen in summer, but let's just enjoy this run until May. And look, if I'm with Keith, I think it solidifies Mane and Firmino staying, because what we do know about Jurgen Klopp is he does he is very loyal to his players, and he's not just gonna be like, he's not a manager, he's not a Solskjaer who goes, oh, new toy, let me just put the old one in the bin. Like Klopp values his Firminos, his Manes, like more than we probably think. Like I still think for Klopp, his best front 3, if he had to choose, would be Mane, Salah, Firmino, just because for him that's like how he works. But But yeah, let's just enjoy it. It's 5 top quality forwards. We've added something else. I'm chuffed because I just didn't expect it. I just didn't expect us to do business in January, and we've done it. So
You use the word chuffed, yeah, but that's because you're like posh and you go to university and you got a law degree, right? But Adams uses the right word. What's used these days, right? He says from the outside looking in. I get Adams is a Chelsea fan. I think Adams. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember, but big up yourself. Keith, he says from the outside looking in. I get you, man, being gassed for the signing, but don't you guys need a midfielder more? That's quite simple, isn't it?
Did if you had come and spoken, put that on the channel 3 weeks ago, we would have been like, yeah, you know, that is the most important position to fill in. But at the end of the day, by February the 5th, we'll pretty much have our entire midfielders. We've got everyone available, literally everybody. So the rotations there, we don't have to force everybody to play every 5 minutes. So yeah, it is a position in the summer for sure. Absolutely. To explore. It'd be interesting to see, because again, it's the reason why I knew that Minamino in particular, that Klopp would be out in the market quite as soon, is because he lost faith a little bit in Minamino. And you see, obviously, we're going to lose Milner in the summer, so he's gone. How much faith does he have in Naby Keita? Who knows, right? Because he picks and chooses when he seems to play him. So there could be options there, but that will be the summer. But for the now, Klopp, I just think Klopp is in dreamland. Like, you got to think, like, man used to have to deal with like Bayern Munich or clubs coming in, taking all his best players just as he was about to build something. They take it away again, just as he was about to build, like he's had the bricks knocked down, shall we say. Now he's looking around and literally like they all want, he's got his cherry pick of all the best players. Like, so midfielders or not, like he looks at his midfield options and he probably thinks, I'm very blessed to have these options.
No, I've done that one. Neil H says Fergie used to chop big stars and keep it moving. Stagnation is real and new signings freshens things up. This is a real jolt of energy to the squad. I think that's a good way of putting it, isn't it? A jolt of energy. We were looking for the word that sort of, but it's a jolt of energy, and all of that. And he comes at the right age group. We spoke about the range in terms of price. Now we're going on to the range of age, and we're looking to rejuvenate this strike force, especially. Okay, we'll concentrate on the strike force for now. So we know all our forwards are hitting 30 bar Jota, who's 25. I believe we bought Mane and Salah around the same age group. He's at the perfect age, isn't he? We'll go on to sort of the kind of player he is, but that price, that age bracket, it was crucial as well that we got right, didn't we?
Yeah, I think the recruitment we do now, as we're sort of doing our future proofing and our succession planning for the post-Klopp era, I think it's never been more important that the recruitment is absolutely spot on, because we're not sure what the landscape looks like post-Klopp. We don't know if he's re-signing. We don't have any evidence to think that he's going to re-sign. So we need our squad to be as cohesive, as young, and as dynamic as possible, so that we can potentially ride through some growing pains in the post-Klopp era. The squad definitely needs some younger blood. I think we have the second oldest average age for a starting 11 in the Premier League. So this is something that definitely works towards bringing that average age back down. And I think we will start to phase out some older players as well in the summer.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and we have to. Despite what you say, Omar, about his loyalty and the way he works, that could be levied at him last summer, and I would say he had enough. I don't know how to say this without sounding disrespectful to Klopp, because Klopp's the man. But we got slightly frustrated with his loyalty to the squad and the injury-prone players and some of the older players. And so therefore we didn't dip into the market. I think this is a clear indication that we have to rejuvenate and bring the average age down. Like Evan says, the average age is very high and creeping up. We now have, roughly at the top of my head, we have Trent, Robertson, who are very young still. Konate, absolute beast, young beast. Midfield, we're going to come on to. That's where we need to sort of obviously look for younger legs, but we've got the likes of Elliott and Jones. And this area of the pitch now, we've got Jota and Diaz, 25. It was crucial, isn't it, that we bring in a young striker that strikes fear into the opposition fullback that he's playing against. And this is exactly what Luis Diaz does.
Yeah, no, I do agree. It's a slow rebuild, and we are seeing the pieces come together with like Jota, the fullbacks, Konate. You've still got Gomez. You've got young players like Jones, Elliott coming through. But it shouldn't be, for me, we're doing it perfectly. It shouldn't be a drastic,
sudden,
change.
just complete. Yeah,
because
what you're saying.
We're not in the 1980s. Players don't retire at 30 anymore. Mo Salah looks after himself better than anyone on this world. He could play at the top level for the next 5 years, guaranteed. Sadio Mane the same. Firmino, I don't know. He packs a few pies, but it's nice to have that balance between the older players and the younger players coming through, and sort of like overlap, if that makes sense. Have that transition overlapping, because it's what you need. You like Arsenal squad; they've got a great set of young. As an example, they've got great young core, but even they've got a few old players, and it's not like connecting. Jurgen Klopp's sort of connecting that transition period. We're in a sort of transition period and still being able to remain successful, in my opinion. And that's the best thing that could happen. And it's that whole Liverpool thing about picking the right targets. We waited a whole 4 or 5 months to get Van Dijk. I'm pretty sure we probably would have waited till someone to get Diaz if it wasn't for Spurs' interest. So I'm just trusting the process, you know. So
no, look, the way you've explained it, I actually see that as well. Like, people want so much change, and people are not interested in the transition part and the kind of effect it has on the players, the team squad, the morale, and everything. There's so many factors to take into place, and you're right, you're spot on. And it's also fair to say, Keith, that it is actually Klopp's first rebuild as well. So he's maybe learning on the job as well, kind of thing. Just before I come to you, Keith, very quickly, Omar, if you could give me your reply to this. Darius says, if Cade's not ready, we need to keep one of Taki or Origi. Who would you keep? And why?
I think I'd keep Origi. I just think sometimes you need that jack in the box, that's just that lucky charm in the squad. And I know it's probably not a thing, but it feels like a thing to me.
It feels like a thing.
Yeah, it feels like a thing. So I'm sorry, Taki, but I don't think it's hard to find Taki a position right now, because in the central positions, which is where I think he's best, you've got Firmino and Jota who are killing it. He's not playing out on the right. He's just not effective there. Origi can play through the middle, on the left, arguably could do a job on the right. So I'd keep Origi, and I don't know how far like Cade Gordon is in his progression, but like you've got people talk about our depth. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent here, but people talk about our depth for midfield not being there. We need a midfielder, but we've got like 8, 9 fit midfielders. So if we ever need to use one of them to play in the front line, you've got Oxlade-Chamberlain, who's done a decent job at right wing. You've got Harvey Elliott, who's played in the front line. So I'm not stressed. But I keep Origi because he's the lucky charm. He's the guy that's gonna.
I like that. I mean, personally, I'd get him an Uber. Myself, I'd pay for it. That's personally. But I get what you're saying. I get your point as well. Michael Valones, if he's French, says, Grizz, you have French followers. Bonjour, monsieur. Bonjour.
Give us more.
Ça va? Yeah, oui, ça va bien. Merci.
This is painful.
Tu es libre ce soir.
Okay, it's getting better.
Yeah, it's coming back. look, if you got something better, then say it. Like, bring it to the table. I'm the brave one here. I'm actually having an attempt. You guys are just sitting there and laughing.
No, you know what? You're right. Yeah. Je m'appelle Keith. Comment t'appelles-tu?
Okay. Well, he's told you his fucking name. Mike Mikel Veron. Why are you asking
Oh,
his
you.
name? Oh, me. I know the basic ones. Quel âge as-tu? Comment t'appelles-tu?
Oui.
Je ne parle français.
Yeah?
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just stop
Or
right there because you're getting a bit too carried away. You're going to
don't worry.
confuse me. You're going to confuse me in a little while. But I was going to say, Keith, from what you know of this player, now that we know that it's literally a medical away, which will be he will have the first part in the morning in Argentina as soon as he gets off there. Everything else has been agreed with the club. They've accepted our structure, payment structure. We're ready to rock and roll. Unless people can.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm the host now.
Oh, wow. You're the host now.
Welcome to welcome to the French football show. Oh, it's gone.
Yeah, I'm there.
Damn.
Right there. But listen,
Fun's over, guys. Fun's over.
But basically, the point I'm trying to make is from what you know of this guy. I was going to say, unless people in the chat can tell me, hopefully there was no injury or nothing tonight, right? Before he went off, because I know he went off just a few minutes beforehand. So look, medical pending. Luis Diaz is a Liverpool player. What are you excited about the most with this player?
I'm excited about seeing him make an instant impact. I just, Senegal and Egypt, if they get to the final of the African Cup of Nations, all of a sudden Mo Salah and Sadio Mane are playing what? When is the final? If anyone can let me know in the chat when the final is. So who's to say that Luis Diaz might just come straight in and start and get the opportunity to make an instant impact? I think there's a real opportunity for that. And that's what you got, the FA Cup game as well against Cardiff. Again, perfect. We've got a few games coming up where it's kind of like a perfect set.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's so with the way that he plays football and the explosiveness and the ability to score goals from anywhere outside the box, inside, he's just, again, one of those, it's the explosion of it all. I think he will just explode straight onto the scene. I think it will take some time to accept. There's going to be a lot of debate, I think, going forward, because Klopp likes to pick the same 11 every single week. But
I think that's going to change now, though, Keith. With these options now, this is the point that we waiting for. We always said that he's playing the same, but then we'd look to our bench and squad and we'd say, I get why he's playing the same.
Yeah.
We can't levy that. We can't give him that excuse now. There is going to have to be horses for courses.
It's going to be a debate in the fan base, I reckon. One of going to be the big debates that I think is going to come up, because it'll be interesting to see if Klopp is going to be as heavy with the rotation as Pep Guardiola is at City, for sure. But again, a Luis Suarez type introduction, a Diogo Jota type introduction. That's what I'm envisaging. That's the type of player he is, and he's got a great set of games to come into to do exactly that.
Give us the lowdown on the player that you thought that you didn't want, Evan, but now that he's ours, now you're going to talk about his strengths. But no, I'm joking. Joking aside, tell us about the doubts that you had, because it's always have to have the balance. I don't want everyone to be singing from the same hymn sheet here and say, yeah, oh my God, he's unbelievable. I knew he's unbelievable, like Avi. And then you had, I can think of certain players that I'd want more because of attributes that you may have thought that we needed more. But give us your thoughts on that.
So I was looking more for a pass first type wide presence. I think we have a lot of shoot first type wingers in the squad right now. It's definitely not a bad thing, but just an observation. I wanted a player whose first instinct would be to cut inside and play other people in. I thought Anthony from Ajax fit that to a T. I thought, he was 3-4 years younger than Diaz, and I was just more drawn to that type of player. For me, from what little I've seen of Luis Diaz, admittedly, seems to be very similar to Mane in the play style. And again, that's no crime, but I just wanted something a little different. And obviously, I didn't know that Porto would be willing to do business for less than the quoted release clause. But I have to hand it to Keith there, because he was 100% right in the sense that in this what is still a COVID market, if you're not a big club, you're going to have to make peace with the fact that you're going to lose players for cheaper than you initially would have in a regular market. Couple that with Porto's FFP sanctions, and it was just sort of the perfect storm for us. So yeah, that was just sort of my thinking behind wanting a different profile. I had no doubts that Luis Diaz is a good player. I mean, a guy who started 18 games and has 18 goal contributions for his club can't not be a good player objectively. So yeah, but that was just where my headspace was.
That's fair enough. I think we've got the final is on the 6th of February, Keith. So the African Nations, which is next Sunday. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I need to remove Keith from the stream. That's strike 3.
Is it? Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Wow. So one more time, I'm removing you from the stream.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this
Bye,
will
Keith.
keep you concentrated. This will keep
Bye,
you
Keith.
concentrated. The next one. Yeah. Evan's so confident. He's already saying bye, Keith. He's not going to survive. But Omar, what do you know about this player? Stylistically, what are you excited about? What does he bring to the Liverpool team as an attacker?
I don't know anywhere near as much as Avi, I'll tell you that. But what I do know is he scores some bangers. I think I've seen that video of the behind the play of video of him scoring that screamer. So yeah, he just looks electric, which is sort of how our players are.
Good word to use actually for our forwards. Yeah, for our attackers.
It's my degree kicking in.
There you go.
It's
kids these days.
No, he just looks like you see players and you just say, oh, they fit the mold of our team. Like Jota came in, he just fits the mold. So I'm just excited to see how he starts. I think Klopp normally beds in midfielders and defenders a lot slower, but he gets his attackers in, and if they get off to a flyer, he just puts them straight in. He has no fear of them. So yeah, it's an interesting one because I like I said, I've not seen much of him, but I think if we were to strengthen in the forward line, it'd probably be a player on the left. I think it's hard for a player now to get in ahead of Mohamed Salah, and we've got two great options down the middle. So to have Diaz come in, I'm just excited to see him play and what that's going to do to Mane. But yeah, I hope he just brings his form over to Liverpool, because was it 14 goals in 18 games? So
yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which league you're doing that. Hassan, and the point that you made about sort of, if we were to bring an attacker, I'd want it to be a left-sided attacker, very much in the mold of Mane, because we know, as we discussed earlier, that Mohamed Salah is not going anywhere, A, and B, like, he's going to be playing for another few years. If everything goes to well, health-wise and plan-wise, he's got another few years, and he's going to play the majority of the games because that's the kind of guy he is. We all discussed the slight dip in form or consistent form, maybe from Sadio Mane on the left, where Jota has been used, but then Jota has looked so good through the center. So look, absolutely, Hassan looks like Hassan read my tweet today where I described. Shout out to Hassan. Thank you for copying my tweet and putting it in the chat. He says Diaz will bring flair to that left wing role, directness and pace. And we all know that our attack is all about directness and pace. Allows the pressure to be taken off for other goals. One thing he definitely adds is aggression. And Keith, you love the aggression side of our pressing. You love the aggression side of, like, in each individual role position. This guy gives me Suarez vibes mixed with Bobby in terms of that aggression off the ball as well as on it. And I love that in a player. Jota gives me that. Mane gives me that. And Diaz gives me that as well.
And you know what? He gets to have one of the best aggressive left backs in world football right behind him. And I was just listening to us all talk about this. I thought to myself, I always think that the best partnership on the left-hand side is between Mane and Robertson. I've always said, like, I think them two click the best. They get each other. So now Diaz gets the opportunity to bring that aggression, technical style of football and develop patterns with Robertson. And I think that is just going to blow the right side of teams out the water. Like, I can expect a lot to come down that left-hand side in terms of build-up play. You know, Mane's been in with the goals, but not necessarily the build-up play as much. But I think Diaz is going to operate more as, you know, almost like more of a connection between, you know, the Thiagos. I think he's going to be closer to that position. I think Jota gets the chance to be the number 9. I think Salah gets the chance to play wherever he wants, whenever he wants to his
Yeah,
credit.
look, we've struck gold with Salah there. There's at the moment no reason to sway away from that. Maybe slight adjustments like we have in the seasons, like sort of he started off always wide left. We've seen him come a little bit inverted this time round with Henderson coming on the outside and Trent. So there's slight variations, but I get what you're saying. Like as our right-sided attacker, Mohamed Salah is the first name you put on the team sheet.
Always. And the left, I think, allows for Salah to maybe even have even more of a free role, because ultimately Diaz can do the legwork in the midfield. You know, again, he's going to be young, hungry, eager to impress. Like, he's going to want to live, breathe, and die that press every single day in training.
100%.
Because he's training with the masters of it. And you made a great point earlier when you were talking about the revolving door at Liverpool. Our revolving door consists of Champions League, Premier League winners, golden boot, like World 11 rankings. Like, these are the players that are in that training every single day that Diaz is going to join. So for players to be in that kind of environment at that kind of elite level is only going to make them grow to become even better at the job. And I think the job will be Luis Suarez-esque. It will be a lot of the times, you know, catching players off guard and creating something out of nowhere. And you know what? Salah, he might as well sign the contract, because the goal bonus is going to be crazy with Diaz on the other side. The goal bonuses he's going to get are going to be crazy. Diaz is going to make a lot of things happen for him.
I think just real quick, just to back up some of the things you guys have been saying, just about the work rate and the tenacity we see from Diaz in Europe's and just in European football, he is in the 98th percentile for tackles in his own attacking third. So Grizz, when you're saying, you know, that's a mixture of Suarez and Bobby, I'm seeing that a bit on the ball.
I swear to God, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that stat.
No, like, so that's spot on when you say that, because when I think of those two players, obviously I think of their immense technical qualities, but I also just think about how absolutely dogged they are when it comes to just defending from the front. And when we talk a lot about what is a Klopp player, what is a Klopp attacker? Well, is it a passer? Is it a great shooter? No, it's primarily someone who's going to defend from the front. So he's in the 98th percentile for tackles in his own attacking third, and he's in the 92nd overall percentile in Europe for successful pressures off the ball. Wow. So this is a Klopp player through and through when it comes to the defensive edge of the 4-3-3.
I just realized this is our very own Mr. Blue Chip in the building with a new logo and everything. So people, give him some love. Go and follow his new channel as well. He's still recovering. He managed to do the morning stream with me, breaking news. There was no way I was going to do a show on Luis Diaz without the main man himself. But he says, and he makes a very good point, going on the back of what we've discussed in terms of his tenacity, his hunger, his desire to reach the very top. There's a thread going around on Twitter. Can someone find out someone's described him, sort of his upbringing. I'll find it in a minute, but Omar, is this relevant? I'll find it while you sort of talk about this point that Avi makes in terms of he's come from the raw villages of Colombia, the hunger and desires, natural instincts, he will succeed, and some we are big on that, aren't we? When we look for players.
Yeah, well, we look at players' backgrounds as well. I think all our forwards really have that sort of story. It's like Salah used to travel 4 hours a day to training. Mane fled the country to pursue football. Was it Firmino? Like came from a really rough background. So these boys are hungry, and it's everything Klopp wants. And when you've got someone like Klopp motivating you from behind, you've got the leaders like Virgil, Hendo in behind you, just pushing you all the time. It's gonna make you feel like you're the best player on earth. And he's gonna walk into that team with Anfield behind him, the players behind him, the manager behind him, and I'm sure it's just gonna be a feeling that not many people will be able to feel. Because he's probably sat there. Well, he's probably sat there in the changing room. I know they lost to Peru. I know he probably loves his country, but he's thinking, "Come on, like I've just signed for Liverpool Football Club. As soon as I leave South America, I'm joining one of the biggest football clubs in the world." And he's probably making that connection between the very start of his life, where it was so tough and he had to really, really fight just to like make something of his life, to now earning whatever he's earning. It's just going to motivate him and keep him humble to say, all right, I've got to this stage, I'm gonna make the most of it, because how many chances is he gonna have if he just takes the piss with it, essentially?
You're right. You're spot on, and that, and Keith, we often speak about that, don't we? The character, and the guy who done the tweet is Simon Edwards, at Simon Edwards SAF, in capital letters. So at Simon Edwards SAF, and he's just a brilliant small thread about his upbringing, and how he at his first training, sort of, they said you have to put on like sort of 10 kg, whatever. He was very skinny, but from what I've seen of him since, me and Avi had the pleasure of being at Anfield when Porto were there, and every time he got the ball, it took 2 or 3 players to take the ball off him and foul him, and he just oozed class. His ball control is sensational. He just oozes, what's the word, Omar? What's the youngsters use the word? Is it Tekers? Sauce.
Yeah, he's got the sauce.
Yeah, like I like my sauce as well, but these guys mean a different kind of sauce. But
ketchup and
helmets. But this guy is saucy, man. He's got the Tekers, he's got the sauce, and he's gonna. I think Keith, we need. Our fan base is all about you. Show us something, and we'll lift you and elevate you to another level. We know that about our fan base, and this guy is one of those guys that he will bring. Trust me, he will bring style and panache, very much like Suarez did, and the cop will elevate him to another level.
Sunday, February 6th, Cardiff City at home, my friend. Just jot that down.
You want to throw him in there?
Why not?
10%. Oh yes, that's where it begins. That's where it begins. Because, like I said, with Salah and Mane, obviously still at the AFCON, they're obviously not getting the time off that all the other players are getting at the moment. So they probably will have a break after they come back from AFCON. I don't think they're going to be thrown in straight away. And if they both get to the final, then they won't be available for the Cardiff game anyway. So maybe fate would have it that they do get to the final and he gets a chance to tear up Anfield, because that, I think, it would just be the perfect curtain raiser for what I think is going to be.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Really
Suddenly we could have a strike force for an FA Cup game at home of Bobby, Jota, and Diaz.
Yeah. That's a very real possibility. February 6th.
Poor Cardiff,
man. I feel for them, man.
Just a couple of super chats before we get to Urban. Really hope we get to Carvalho as well. That's our next topic of conversation. And Neil says, still think our midfield flimsy, lads, cover for Fab. Yeah, I'd agree with that, in terms of just especially for the Fabinho role. But as I said, that will 100% be addressed in the summer. Going back to this one. So look, Luis Diaz, welcome to Liverpool. You'll never walk alone. LFC family and all that business. My brother, welcome. We move on, and the other rumor that's going around and people wanting to ask and talk about is Carvalho, Fabio Carvalho, youngster from Fulham. Evan, very much liked. The situation from all reports suggests that he's available for a free. Not really. He'll go to a tribunal. We're trying to do a deal now, but obviously Fulham are in a situation where they want to come back into the Premier League, and he's one of their absolute starlets. Fan of his, seen much of his, A, and B. Shall we just wait, or do you want to just pay the extra maybe million or two and get him in now? How would you go about it?
Well, outside YouTube compilations, I haven't seen him play. I think we can safely say welcome to Liverpool, Fabio Carvalho as well. It's just is that going to be next week, or sorry, not next week? Is that going to be this week in the coming days, or is it going to be over the summer? I think the big hiccup right now for Fulham is I think they're trying to weigh out the uncertainties of the situation. Should we take whatever Liverpool are willing to offer right now, or should we let it go to a tribunal where it'll be decided in an independent court what our compensation will be? And obviously Fulham kind of embarrassed themselves in the whole Harvey Elliott tribunal situation. They asked for 10 million and the court kind of just laughed at that. So I'm not sure
they're not in a strong. They've had a bad experience with us from that point of view, right?
Yeah, so they've already overplayed their hand in a recent situation, almost identical situation, and it's so I think they would be more inclined to do business. I think they went into that first tribunal situation with Elliott thinking they could have their way, and they were humbled, for lack of a better word. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were willing to take 3-4 now, as opposed to thinking they can get 7 or 8 in the summer and then end up with the same amount. In terms of their promotion aspirations, I don't think they're going to miss him too much, because from my understanding, they're just scoring an obnoxious amount of goals currently in the championship. They're making a bit of a mockery of the championship as things stand, from what I've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm not an avid championship watcher.
Ridiculous. They're walking away with it.
Yeah, so I would be extremely surprised if this doesn't happen. I think of it in the same vein as Diaz, of it's just a matter of when, not if. When will Diaz be announced? When will Carvalho be announced? Well, with Diaz probably sometime this week, but with Carvalho could be this week, could be summer. But I'm sort of thinking of him as inevitably a Liverpool player.
I can reveal from what I've been told that we have offered him a contract that him and his agent have agreed to. So it's a matter of sort of negotiating with his club in terms of now or summer. And I pretty much think that Carvalho will be a Liverpool player as well. I've seen enough of him to say I'm not sure. You know what I mean? So
not sure about his potential, or not sure about what do you mean?
Yeah, no, I think he's a good player. I think he's a very good player. I need to see more of him. I've got the same doubts that I had of Elliott, but Elliott proved me wrong, and I love it. I love being proved wrong if it's for the betterment of the club and Liverpool. He's a slight build to be an 8 in a club team, and he's not direct, and he hasn't got the goals output to be one of our wide men. He's in that zone where you think, oh, he's a fantastic little, like almost like a Coutinho.
Yeah,
so
I think
you know what I mean.
You're right. You're right.
We're playing.
You're right, but like you said, these are the exact same questions people had about Coutinho and Elliott. And then I just think, inevitably, when you're good enough, you're gonna play. People were wondering, is Elliott physically up to Salah's standard? Will he ever be? Probably not. Let's be honest with ourselves. Is he what you think of when you think of a Klopp midfielder, robust, physically superior. No, he's not. But these players are so good that you find a way to work them in. I think if a 24, 25-year-old version of Coutinho was available right now, I don't think Klopp would go for him. But I think should that player he inherit that sort of player, should that player sort of just fall into his lap in the way that Harvey Elliott kind of did, I think you have a responsibility to try to make that work because he's so clearly talented.
I'm going to stick with you because Selection has mentioned someone that you're very fond of. Diaz is very aggressive, especially when he's high up the pitch. I would love Anthony as well, mainly because he's very young. Longer term investment, I would take Anthony over Rafinha because it's a longer term investment. Age wise, yes. Price wise would be far cheaper. Stylistically, very different players, in my opinion. Anything to add to that, Evan?
Yeah, it's as much as I like Rafinha, I just don't think there's a world in which we do what we would consider a good deal for Rafinha. I think Leeds are going to protect his value to the bitter end. I think he's going to help them do that. So yeah, just with various Premier League taxes and selling to a Premier League club, I just don't see Rafinha as a realistic financial option for us. Anthony, 100% a different profile than Diaz, different age profile too. There's enough years between them to say that. Again, it just came down to a matter of opinion. I liked the look of Anthony, but I can also see what people in the chat have brought up as well. With Mane, is he declining? Is he not? Well, there's certainly no question over whether Salah's declining or not. So in terms of game time on the right wing, it was always going to be difficult to offer a new signing that, whereas you can make a case that there's a much greater chance at game time on the left wing these days. So yeah, that's probably just how it is.
Pretty much agree with that. Mr. Blue Chip in the building again sends in a super chat. He says, finally got Diaz done. Big love to the panel, especially older brother. Easy with the older, relax. You didn't need to say that bit. There's absolutely no need to say that bit.
Yeah, a little dig there.
Yeah,
you're all old men, really, aren't you?
Over the moon. Yeah, I am. But you don't need to say that live in public. Like, it is what it is.
Maybe like cultured, weathered. Is that a sexier way of saying it? Probably.
Yeah. You're on. You're okay.
Wise.
I like you.
Wise.
Wise. Yeah. Okay. You're working your way back. You want that show still? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Sunday, I'll have it.
But Omar, there was a question here from our resident Newcastle fan. He asked about where I want to move on to. He says, where is it? Here we go. He says, Grizz, shout out to our resident Newcastle fans. He says, Grizz, is Nat Phillips still available? We need a centre-back here at Newcastle. Nat Phillips was Newcastle did make a bid for Nat Phillips, followed by Watford as well. We've rejected both offers initially. I still believe Nat Phillips will leave. It's cutting it fine now, isn't it? I did genuinely believe he's going to leave before Monday, whenever the window closes. Is he available if you are the director of football, Omar? And B, if he's available, what kind of price you taking and accepting for him now?
Yeah, I think he's available. I think he had his one season of glory at Liverpool. I think Klopp even said he's available. But so I'm shocked he's still at the club, to be honest. But price wise, what do you know what's been offered so far? Because
they offered 7 million.
Okay, I think the club are probably it's one of those classic final
standoffs,
deadline day where the club's probably at, I don't know, saying 15 million, people offering 7 million. They'll probably agree somewhere in the middle. I think between 10 to 15 million. It's probably 10 to 15 million more than we could have had him last year. So yeah, I'd take that. I think he needs to go off and play some Premier League football and get some more ball on head. Because he I think he'd actually suit a lot of he'd suit a lot of Premier League teams. He's sort of what they need, and he's played in a big team. So yeah,
certainly has.
I think I think it's just gonna be like it's deadline day. It's probably gonna be boring, and it's just be like, oh, Nat Phillips for 15 million. It's gonna be like,
how much sense would it make, guys, from a Liverpool FSG, the way we operate point of view? Now that I've told you guys that the initial down payment is 12.5 million. How unsurprised would you be if we find out Nat Phillips is sold for 12.5 million?
It would just be great. It would just be.
I mean, you love that shit, don't you? You love that, the finance side of it.
I just think that it's just great business. I think they just do really good business. Like, think about it. They always seem to maximize the value of players that realistically were not even fetching that type of money 18 months ago. Like, you're talking about now Nat Phillips, Champions League experience, Nat Phillips, top 4 fighting experience, Nat Phillips. You know what I mean? We end up finishing 3rd with him in the team. What the badges he's received from his wars with Liverpool has now made him worth upwards of 15 million quid. Do you know what I mean? And then you get the debate goes on because people share net spend and all that. That's why. This is why the net spend is so damn low. Think about it.
Because we're so good, yeah.
How? In what world was Nat Phillips worth £15 million 18 months ago?
Well, there you go. Exactly. And this is it. This is the beauty of it, because it's all part and parcel of it. Whether we like it or not, whether we do these sums in our head and it doesn't make sense to us, it makes the money people at the club, and unfortunately the owners are money people. So it's one of those ones. Sticking with you, Keith, the next player that I want to speak about is Taki Minamino. Interested clubs range from Monaco in France. Bonjour again.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Okay, bonsoir. And to Leeds. I don't think any of us can do a Leeds accent. I'm not going to try. Leave it, Omar. Leave it. I know you're young and you're like maybe want to try, but no, leave it.
I was so
close. He was thinking about it.
Yeah.
No. You definitely drop it, Evan. You definitely drop it. Don't even go there. Like with a Leeds accent, American Leeds accent. How the fuck's that going to work? But yeah. Taki's attracting interest. Monaco. Straight away you think, Monaco? Chouameni? Something can be done there. But then you're looking at Leeds and you're thinking, Rafinha? Can something be done there? But look, Taki, it seems as though Taki is available at a certain price. Again, very much like what I asked Omar, what are you doing if you're, what's the new brother's name? Julian Ward. Yeah. What are you doing with Taki? Are you saying, well, let's wait for summer, stick around until summer, and then we may get better offers? Or if you get a decent, is there a figure in your price that you think, let's do this?
I think Taki's days are done at Liverpool. It just didn't quite work out. And, he's had some good moments, not some good moments. And I don't say this purely from my judgment of the player. I think he's decent. I say that from the decisions that Jurgen Klopp has made since Taki's been at the club. The boss has spoken without actually speaking. Too many times he's been left him on the bench. He's even opted for Oxlade-Chamberlain to be his striker, preferred attacker ahead of him. So that's just all signs lead to that. Evan, I think it was you who made the point earlier about how Liverpool kind of like do these deals with your Fulhams and almost like offset debt kind of thing, like IOUs. This could be an opportunity for Liverpool to do a little IOUs and build a bit of a relationship, which they already have with Monaco, right? Monaco, if they sold to Monaco, that would pique my interest for future relations. Let's put it that way, because it's all about relationships. You see, obviously, politically with Brexit and the Premier League in particular, European teams are either trying to either they need the money, so they need the cash out, or they're the bigger clubs that they're just going to trade amongst themselves in that situation, right? So they're going to keep everything between themselves. So. Oh man, now I just went on a quiz.
It's okay as you do. It's okay as you do. Yeah. You like giving context. I like it. Yeah. You like giving depth. I like it. So what are you doing with Taki, Keith?
Get rid of him.
And how much?
Get rid of him. Yeah, I would say do business with a team that's going to be useful. Not so much about how much it is. Do business with someone that's going to be useful in the future, because I think
A political sale.
Yes.
Political sale.
You know, that is such a profound point, Keith. No one thinks about transfers that way. Do it with someone that is useful. Do business with a team that produces great players, so that when that team produces another Mbappe, we can be at the front of the queue. I think that sort of thing is so important. And the only anxiety I will say I have in the post Michael Edwards era and the transition to Julian Ward is I hope Michael Edwards has let Julian Ward hang on to that Rolodex. Essentially, I hope we're maintaining those connections with Leipzig. I hope we're maintaining those connections with Monaco. All of the people that Michael Edwards was very buddy with, I hope they have a good friendship with Julian Ward as well. The politics of transfers doesn't get talked about enough, so I'm so glad you brought that up.
You're right. You're spot on. I'm going to stick with you, Evan.
Cool.
Samunske. Let us know if we've said it right, because on this show we're all about the pronunciations. And B, tell us which beautiful country you're from. Let us know that as well. I'm always interested.
Samonuska.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounded. I like the confidence behind that. It sounded confident. It sounded real. Hell yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess Greek. Anybody want to guess before the?
This one could go either way. I don't really know. It could.
We're guessing it.
Iranian. I'm going to Iran. Iranian.
You're going to Iran?
Great shout.
I'm going to say this could be Slavic. I'm going to say potentially this could be Eastern European.
Okay, the intrigue, the wait. I'm dying for Samuruske to come back. I know Omar said it right, I think. So, yeah. But look, we digress. He says Diaz, fire emoji, because that's what Diaz is all about.
Fire.
Need Jude next. Number one target. Oh, whoops. I shouldn't have let that slip. Gomez must be kept. English quota. Evan, Joe Gomez.
Yeah. Yes.
Talking point, man. We haven't got enough time to go in depth on it. We will go in depth on it. Joe Gomez is attracting attention from a lot of teams, clubs, naturally so. Brilliant young centre-back, English. Who wouldn't want him? Steven Gerrard definitely does. We've refused all advances right now, but there will be a decision in the summer. What do you do with him? Is there any price, again, that might tempt you now? Or do you hold, and then assess in the summer? Because in the summer, it's not only about us, it's about him as a player, as an individual. Will he want to be fourth choice again? Evidently, he is fourth choice. Talk to me about that. I think I've given you the hardest one.
Nah, when it comes to Gomez, I'm in no rush to do business. I'm in no rush to move him on. We've only just now had good center back depth for the first time in God knows how long. I'm in no rush to get rid of it. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel safe. It's my safe place, our four center backs. Yeah, he's a fantastic player. He's in that age profile that we're trying to bring in. I don't want to get rid of great players in that age profile as well. People are getting a little bit anxious that he hasn't come back with the same speed and vigor as Van Dijk. But if we think back to when these injuries came out, it was noted from the very beginning that Gomez's injury was much worse than Van Dijk's. That was said by the England camp. I remember James Pearce and people in The Athletic touching on that. So Gomez's injury was always worse than Van Dijk's. It was always going to take him a while to get back up to speed. So no surprises there for me personally. The only figures that would make me turn my head would be about 50, 60. That would make me have the conversation, hypothetically. Anything less than that, I'm not trying to do business. I think he's a fantastic player. We shouldn't think of him as fourth choice for long. Keep in mind, Matip is also in that bracket of older player. You know what I mean? So Gomez is going to get more opportunities. We forget that Gomez was Van Dijk's partner for the greatest defense Liverpool has ever had, the greatest defense I've ever seen Liverpool have. Joe Gomez is comfortably better than players, certain kitchen appliances that have sold for about 80 million in the past. So Yeah, I'm in no rush to get rid of Joe Gomez. I'm a huge Joe Gomez advocate. It would take something well above his current market valuation to make me even have the conversation.
We're so close to 300. If we get to 300, I may reveal a name that I've heard that we would look to replace Joe Gomez with in the summer if we receive bids of 40 million and above. So get to 300 and we can discuss that. We have an answer, and shame on you all. Now, the only way we can judge and base this is who was closer. So I said Cyprus, right? You said Slovakia.
I just said Eastern European.
Eastern European.
They're all in a line.
Keith, you said Iran.
And Keith's got it.
And is Keith the closest?
He's also on mute, by the way.
Yeah,
So you fucking
that's about
lose
strike
anyway.
10.
So
Yeah.
you lost.
Closest, damn it!
Well, now that he says it's Japanese, it feels obvious. Dang.
Yeah,
I feel like we should have got that. You know, we're cultured, right? We're supposed to be better than this.
We're learning. This is growth.
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Every
Speak
day.
about yourself. Your one's a tough one as well. People talking about. Hold on. Ginny asks, by the way, how old is this Diaz? He's 25.
Just turned 25.
Just literally turned 25. So we talk about that. That's that sweet spot. Like when it comes to age, I don't know.
1997 he was born. 1997.
Is there any specific memories? Is there anything special about that year? Why are you saying it like that?
It's just 1997. I mean, I would have been 7 years old, just started school for the very first time, and Luis Diaz was born somewhere in Colombia at the
There you go. Last name that we want to talk about, and it's a pretty tricky one as well. Omar, I'm going to come to you. Grizz, any updates on Neco Williams? Neco Williams is again getting a few inquiries. Neco Williams himself apparently is slightly eager to leave, as opposed to we want him to leave. So that makes it a bit awkward. But again, what would you do? You're the new football director. Is there a figure that you'd look for, or do you think he's done? I don't know. I don't want to get into your brain and give you my opinion.
I think he's just probably going to be another part of like the Reds' money making scheme, which is
money laundering operation.
Yeah, which is we made some money from our youngsters. We made like 25 mil from Brewster. I think Neco so in the right back like chain. You have Trent, then you probably have Neco, then you have Milner, and then Bradley right now. I think Neco needs to just. I can probably see him seeing out this year, and then he'll probably seek football at a lower Premier League club or maybe a Championship club. But I can see us getting about a good, because he plays well for Wales. So like he's built his stocks up a bit playing for Wales, but yeah, I can see us getting about 15 million for him. I think Klopp again said
15.
He would
10
to 15, the good old 12.5.
Yeah, and agree on the good old 12.5.
Yeah, I can see it because he's young. I think his age always helps. And he's not a bad player. He's done all right for us. He's never going to be a world beater for us. That's famous last words, but I don't think he'll ever turn into Neco Bell like people have been saying. But yeah, I can see us getting 10 to 15 million, and we tend to get good money from our youngsters. So yeah, it's I'd let him go in summer, and hopefully it's a tricky one because it's who's going to come in and sit behind Trent knowing they aren't going to get a game.
It's the hardest. We've often discussed it, isn't it? It's the hardest recruitment dilemma. How do you find a Trent understudy?
Yeah.
It's you can go one or two ways. You do it through the youth, so you can either get Bradley, or you get an experienced right back, which isn't really the Liverpool way. So I don't know what's going to happen. Van der Berg is a shout. He's been playing right back Preston, hasn't he? Quite well. So he might be the next in line to sit behind Trent for a bit. But yeah, Keanu Hoover, oh my God.
Brandon
forgot
makes
about
a
him.
point that we sold Keanu Hoover for 10 million, so we can definitely get for Neco Williams. Not sure. Keanu was by far the more talented, but Neco, in my opinion, will have a more solid career. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But around the 10 million is a good figure for me. It's difficult. I think the people at Kirby and the coaches absolutely adore Conor Bradley, including Jurgen Klopp, who has played him in a fair few games. They rave about Conor Bradley and his attacking prowess from fullback, which we obviously look for in a fullback. So yeah, Conor Bradley is seen as probably already on a par with Neco Williams. Okay, maybe not. Neco Williams is slightly ahead, but you get what I'm saying. So look, that's something we're going to have to look at and address in the summer. The Neco Williams shout. Was there anything else that I've forgotten, Evan? Was there any other name that?
I'm trying to think. I mean, the information you conveniently let slip when I was answering that certain super chat. I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk about a certain Dortmund midfielder in length in future episodes. I just wanted to say I'm looking forward to that.
No, we will dive deep into that because that's going to be a summer topic that won't go away until it goes away.
Yeah.
Either way, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
So we will look upon that. People are letting me know. All right. No need to order me about 300 likes. Centre back name.
I mean,
there's no please. There's no
Ragnar Klavan.
Listen, we Grizz, you did lay the gauntlet down, and the chat has responded.
Yeah, but look how nicely I said it, and look at the demands being made. Like Ali's a regular; he knows how I roll. Like you roll rude with me, I'm gonna roll rude back with you. If you've been nice to me, I'm gonna welcome you with both arms. And
you know that they're just saying that you answer to the people at the end of the day. I think that's the theme. You know?
It was a verbal contract you did.
Yeah.
Oh, shut up, you lawyer. You and your verbal contracts in place. But if we have reached 300 likes, I can't tell right now. I can't check. But if we have, the player's name that I've heard we are very much interested is, how do you say this? See, this is the thing, isn't it? The first name's easy. Ronald Araujo.
Oh, Araujo.
Oh, the Barcelona guy.
Say it properly.
Araujo.
We got the new Avi in the building.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have got the proper real Avi. Like, look what I said and look what he said. My God, it sounds so good. Say that one more time.
Good-looking Avi.
Say that again one more time.
Ronald Araujo.
Ronald Araujo.
Nice.
Araujo.
So
you got
Barcelona centre back. We like him. We like him a lot. But that's another one for summer. We'll discuss it during the summer, see how that develops. If I hear any more, I will share it. If you believe me, you believe me. If you don't, just let me know in the chat that I'm a prick and I'll block you. But that's the way it is. But people, I think that's everything covered. Oh, no, of course not.
My guy. Of course. We were 24 hours away from the Royal Rumble. Predictions on who will win the Royal Rumble, men and women's. Men's Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns. Women's Royal Rumble, I'm going with... that's going to be a hard one. Alexa Bliss or Sasha Banks. But yeah, Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. That's the big one. So,
do you think any one of us could win the women's Royal Rumble? Like, if we went up against them?
Nah, they'd definitely probably kick your ass.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair's daughter. Woo!
Oh, really?
Woo!
I'd just be there like Paul Heyman, just like trying to just soak in the glory.
What?
Yeah. So I'm still no closer to having any interest, even though we get regular questions about it.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. Although I have no interest in wrestling, I'm offended that nobody ever asked me what our Royal Rumble predictions are, right, Grizz? I
Yeah.
mean, I'd still like to be asked, even if I don't know. Just
Yeah.
for future reference, chat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let us ask us now and again. We just feel part of it, you know. It's
I'll,
just
ju-
good to make it's
I'll
good to
just
make people feel involved, right?
yeah. I'll essentially just reword Keith's prediction and pass it off as my own. That's what I'll do.
Man. But listen, guys, I think we've covered the majority of it. The main gist of it is Luis Diaz is pretty much hours away from becoming officially a Liverpool Football Club player. Amazing feeling. We have a transfer. Ladies and gentlemen, we got it. We have a player. We have made a signing in the January transfer window. Our record, go and check our record. Okay, forget last year. Like last year was not real. It didn't happen. COVID and shit and all that. But generally, look at our January signings, and that's the kind of caliber we're fucking with, man. I'm telling you guys, this guy is going to light up Anfield and wherever away ground he's at as well. He's going to be one of those guys that the opposition hate. You know that. He's going to be one of those that everybody wants him on your side and loves him. We're going to love him. But the opposition, he will rile up away fans. You know that. But we like that.
That's exactly what you want.
Evan doesn't like that shit house.
Oh, come on. Is that...
Evan likes, like, he doesn't want him to be flashing cards.
Peace, love, and happiness in Evan's
Peace, love, and happiness, man. That brother's peace, love, and happiness. Yeah, peace. We should all greet. Hey, listen, people in the chat, always greet Evan with the peace signs, man. Yeah, peace. Throw out the peace emojis when we Evan talk.
This is fucked up, man.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about. But listen, we're all buzzing, we're all happy. Luis Diaz is a red, and everything else is not important right now. That's the only thing. We've got another week of no football to look forward to. Oh no, we've got the AFCON. Oh yes, of course we have got. So best of luck to Sadio, and hope he's okay to play first and foremost. When is the first game? Anybody know?
Nah. I'm not gonna go full Avi and
Pretend. Yeah. Basically. Good luck.
I'm joking, Avi. I'm joking. I know you're there.
Good luck to both Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah. For us, okay, here they come. Saturday, and someone said Sunday, so we don't know.
Thank you,
basically,
man.
and then someone said both Sunday.
Yeah.
Mixed bag.
So brilliant. We are where we are. Right at the start, we don't know where we are. So 4 p.m. Okay, it's still mixed. So fuck that. I wish I didn't even ask the chat. The chat's let us down today. But I think more's coming with Sunday. More people are coming with the Sunday shout. So yeah, on the balance of probability, it probably is Sunday. Yeah. But good luck to Mo and Mane. For us, they will always be the kings of Africa. They are kings of Africa. Good luck to them. Obviously, only one of them can win it. Hopefully, one of them will win it, and they come back safe and sound, where they can meet up with Luis Diaz and form one of the greatest attacking forces this Premier League has ever seen. This has been the TICTAK Premier League show. I need to remove this because I've got a bunch of useless brothers with me today. Who tell us about your channel, Evan. While I take away the stuff that I need.
Being described as useless hurts my feelings. First and foremost, I'm sensitive, as you guys know. I'm all about the peace, love, and happiness. So I'm obviously sensitive as well. I just want to say I made a great thumbnail for this video, but apparently I'm useless. So hurts me, wounds me deeply.
I'm just here for my looks. So
okay, you're here for your wrestling opinions. Let's not get carried away.
Simply.
I'm here to bring down the average age.
Yeah, what the? Okay, how old do you think I am, my friend? How old do you think?
Evan, I reckon you're about 26.
25.
Oh, that's bad shout. But listen, talking about that, Omar, it's perfect time to let people know that you're going to have a show coming up, hopefully this week, to help with the average age a bit more. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I don't know why you gave me the keys to your show, your channel, but thank you. I actually really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm hosting a show with Ben SMX LFC. He's a big part of the Anfield Talk. And yeah, it's just to basically get the younger gen involved. I think there's so many good opinions in the younger gen, and we don't really hear their voices so much. Like there's a lot of voices on, say, Twitter, Instagram, but it's good to have a platform like this. So yeah, thank you, Chris. And we'll just be talking about mainly Liverpool, but I think on Thursday we're doing a hybrid show. So we've got an Arsenal fan and a Chelsea fan on, and we're going to be drawing up our greatest Premier League 11s of all time.
Brilliant stuff.
Because because every pundit I see do it, they just don't do it right. So
exactly.
Omar, how old are you?
I'm 21.
I can't wait to see what your all-time Premier League 11 is going to be, because you.
But this is it. This is the intriguing bit.
It's always Gerrards, the Terrys, the Ferdinands. Now it's going to be
Yeah, the young generation going to have a chance to have their say, and this is what's intriguing about it. And you know, Omar's a top kid, and I'm very glad that I'm giving the keys to my kingdom, so to speak. But yeah, so we'll let you know, guys, if you've subscribed and got your notification bell on. We'll let you know. I'll tweet it out as well, and that should be a good show from Thursday, I believe. But we'll confirm it 100%. But this has been the TICTAK transfer show. We added.